Welcome back, everyone, to the stream as we're still going strong here. Already, 2 quarterfinals down, 1 more to go. Fours against Vitality. Now, 2 Pro League teams going against each other, rather than the CL team that we've seen actually take down the PL team. But do we still call Fours a CL team? Because the Pro League season hasn't actually started yet. What do we think?
Yeah, I think they've got the medals to show for it. They've got the round result they can point at. Yeah, I would say they are. And I mean, well, it's the hard thing, because we discussed this when we were in NA, where when it's a fresh Pro League team versus a Pro League team, as it was with OGA versus EG, because it's rarer to see that outside on a grand stage in a best-of-3 scenario, USN kind of to a side. You know, we've seen Forza make PL teams bleed when they were a CL team and below. We've seen the same thing, and hey, yeah, they've got the title now, but did they ever really need it?
Yeah, I think we consider them Pro League anyway. Let's see the map bans, though, as, of course, that decides the fun. Vitality, they have had, I think, an alright time so far in the OGA. They had pretty standard win for themselves, and well, it was. I think everybody expected the Pro League teams, the Pro League and CL teams, to beat the non-Pro League and CL teams, to beat all the Tier 3 teams. That was expected. We still haven't seen a single 2-0 series yet, Fluke. But I feel as if this may be the one to change that.
Yeah, this is the one that kind of points its fingers. If we had a full strength chaos on the previous map, it might have been the previous game as well. But Forza versus Vitality, they've met each other before as well. They've met each other in the rally and invitationals, and it's a balance between the pair of them. They've both taken two series against each other. We're going to head to Border as the first, and this was one of the ones we saw in Rally, where Forza pulled Border away on a 7-4 split.
Ooh, first pick Border, and BDS did the same. I think this is just going to be Fours just putting up everything they can and just trying to get that early lead. You know, we've seen how much the first map advantage has on people.
And they took Penta to Border, and they beat them 7-1.
Exactly, yeah. So. But then again, Penta, bit of a crisis situation at the moment. Vitality, not so much. Vitality have had a really good season. I know that the morale in that camp is high. They got runners-up in the French League finals, of course, losing to Vodafone. But still, for Vitality, they have such a solid and great, great lineup. You know, you think about everybody there, the veteranism that you kind of gain. And, of course, we have to mention Stiggy, who is the main man who we expect to show up for Vitality tonight. But then Fours, they have their own collection of fraggers.
Yeah, obviously, and they're really, really good at kind of finding their way in and amongst any other side that they're really pitted against. Border is a map that really plays well into that. Bank, again, is one that can be a little bit wide, and this is another one that we saw Forza go up against Penta in the kind of playoffs, so maybe this is where Vitality have got some of their information based on how they want to steal and deal with Forza, because Forza, before they got to this stage, they played a lesser-known team, but they were hiding stuff for the playoffs, the same way that we said about BDS were. The game versus Penta to get into Pro League is one where they could have been counter-stratted, and I guess we'll see how much homework has been done by the sides of Vitality as we jump into the very first map of the final game of the evening. Let's see who takes it.
So Vitality, they get the defense first and Fours on the attack. I'm still very adamant that the attack has so many things going for them in Border, because it's a very basic and simple map. It just kind of leads you down that simple avenue of just fragging out of your skull. I would say that Fours have the better entries compared to Vitality. I just think that, you know, you think of the Russians and the CIS region as a whole, they're monsters.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is they learn from each other, they kind of grow as a region, and they're one of those kind of storm-up teams that we've seen happen a couple of times. Empire obviously lighting a beacon for that, but Na'Vi, Secret, there's been a kind of habitual method of this, and Forza were one of the ones that were pointed towards, especially when they stormed their way to 4th place recently, or the kind of 3rd, 4th bracket place on the major stages. Now we're obviously seeing these bans come through. Nomad, Capitao, and Mira are taken out so far, and they kind of limit the way that you can play this Border, and this is a standard set of bans with Echo rounding that off there.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary. Very basic, very standard. There's nothing really there that's kind of surprises me. Capital being a big one, which is expected for Border. It's probably one of his best maps. I think the fact that you can neutralize the half-wall position primarily for Armory is like the big thing you get, and even the fact that if there's like off-site holds in towards security, which we see like a lot of the time, you can literally have a security hold for like 3 of the bomb sites. Yeah. Only one you couldn't really do that with is bathroom, because you need to hold office, and even at that, he's great for eliminating like half-wall positions at office as well. So there's so many great places for him.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can kind of, get in these situations where you shepherding, forcing, funneling, and playing around with where people can be comfortable, and that's the kind of way that the operator can work in on this. Vent is going to be the first point. We see Vitality want to hit up with the 6th pick between the Maestro and the Valkyrie, and I think that's a kind of bait and switch towards what point they might be actually going to. However, this is a point that you hold upstairs anyway, and I guess you have the combination, obviously, of Bride on the Mozzie, the Valkyrie. That's so much portable information to be able to work out where Forza is. And one of the kind of big problems that we've seen previous teams on Border have was just the lack of relevant information.
So, Vent straight off the rip. Going for the upstairs hold. Valkyrie's there, of course, gives that information. You have the Mozzie, who we know is like just a universal pick for like every bomb site you can bring him with. Bandit there for the bandit trick, typically over towards the double wall on Armory. Jaeger, pretty self-explanatory, gives Stig a 416 in his arsenal, and also eliminates any frag grenades that can be tossed in by players like Pasha. And the castle is there just to try and sanction off some different sight lines, but I'm sure that Fours, looking at their lineup, they bring an Ashe, they bring Sophia, those shouldn't be any issues.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of way that we see these teams kind of fall together and apart about this stuff, is they're so good at being able to find responses. And it's, yes, EU has been a lot of 2-0s. It's been entirely 2-0s, but it's been so many close matches in and amongst that because, as you said, these teams, they know how to bring the operators to respond to each other. The kind of play space and surface of EU across Pro League and Challenger League and whatever is so well tested and well trodden and well kind of beaten down against each other that, it's the operator lineups, they know what to bring to mess with each other.
So Fours will try an entry in towards Office. Probably going to utilize the fact that you can toss the nades and eliminate the man on triple wall, which is exactly where Pasha is playing, and trying to get in there and potentially sandwich, but nobody from Vitality now is playing in Office. They've all backed away, fallen back to their second kind of wave of defense towards the Archives and Armory side of things. But still for Fords, they're making good time. 2 minutes, they've made their entry in, and now it's just a matter of fact of getting together and trying to clear out these roamers.
Yeah, and so far the amount of pressure that they're just applying, as we can see, they're gunning at potential spots. They're forcing the players of Vitality to fall back further and further. There's one body underneath. We can see them, and Valkyrie's obviously playing close, but with one person down in tellers and one person down in detention, this could be something where they can loop back around and find some reverse aggression if Forza leave those channels unchecked. In the meantime, they're happy to keep the steady roll on aggressively against the point and try and find the bodies inside, as the first to suffer is Rask finding Qual, taking complete control of the top floor of Armory.
Kama also in the sandwich window, and Bibu is pretty much just gotta let the buck run past him, and they have no idea he's here. They think it's safe, they think it's clear, and Bibu, honestly, right, he's probably gonna get one kill, but that's about it. He eliminates the buck, but now this is where the wolves gather. As Stiggy appears out of nowhere, he creeps up in towards Customs and finds Rask. And now Fours, nobody's there to respond to Bibu, and just that one minor misdrone has gave Vitality the opening.
Yeah, like, we've seen that Valkyrie stood there for the entire round so far, and Bibu is such a great player at being able to make it count. Swings in, finds WTG down, and is going to lie down and wait for the push as Stiggy finds the pickup, and there's a close battle, and Shockwave gets caught as well. And that's Bibu locking it down with the assistance of Stiggy and Spark, being the end of a very, very great return collapse from Vitality.
My, oh my. What has Bibu just done? Realistically, he should have been able to get a kill, and then that was it. That's all he should have had there. But he just runs riot. Force, one misdrone has caused your entire attack to collapse under the pressure of itself. So now Vitality, they win their vent straight off the rip. Still have Armory in the back pocket, but instead favoring typically the third bomb site, Customs. Vitality are also a team which they're not scared to go for a bathroom and teller, so we could see that also kind of appear, which I would also expect to see that next over Armory. I'm expecting Vitality to try and keep Force on their toes.
Well, the 6th pick to the IQ is a response to the Valkyrie. That was obviously a secret the first time round, but this time it's no secret, and they're going to have to find a way to shut that down and be a little bit more aggressive about the information being brought. In the meantime, as we said, it was pretty exceptional play from Bibu up above, and how can they kind of double down on that, or if they're going to even try to. Stiggy is the one that's obviously picking up the mantle this time of Valkyrie, but both players are exceptional gunners, exceptional fraggers, and exceptional at finding their way through Forza. There's the drone, taken out just on the corner there. Camera tried to keep it alive, but just couldn't quite as they set themselves up with a pretty aggressive 90 hold. Again, Border is a point where even when it's the first floor, you're gonna keep the second locked down. You need to have 90, you need to have CC, especially for this point as well, because you need to be able to respond to what they want to do. And we've seen teams try and ignore the hold above and get turned into absolute ribbons beneath as they try to enter via the detention side.
Okay, Vitality. Setup, nothing really out of the ordinary that, we're not used to seeing. Everything is kind of there. Sometimes we see that double wall be reinforced, sometimes we even see it left open. So that's like the only thing that Vitality did different, is that they've left it closed, perhaps a little bit more protection. Curious as to how Force what they're trying to approach this. They have some nades, they have some stuns from Sophia. So they have plenty of utility to try and make the defense still a bit scared. Spark is potentially looking for a play as he's now prone underneath the window. But no droning as of yet that can get him caught out. Spash does send in, yet again, another drone, trying to see if he can find him. Doesn't check the window. There you go. Now you know he's there. Will Ras pounce on this? Yes, he will. So Spark tried to go for a sneaky play, but automatically gets shut down for it.
Well, the drones are coming in spades now, and Rask is able to find his second in a row for the opening level. Stiggy, in the meantime, gets the hatch open below him and is able to drop down, well, try and find himself a little bit more of a semblance of aggressive control on the far side, with Qual not too far away around Tellers, doubling down on just keeping this side locked. Otherwise, it seems like Forza are going for this vertical. They obviously misdroned and mistimed it previously, but it seems like they're being much more thorough, which is good. You want this response, and you want the ability to kind of wake up to what was otherwise a pretty astronomical lapse in concentration to allow them to be able to cut you entirely in half from one missed corner. In the meantime, they have 90, they have the cover, they have everything locked down, and WTG is going to try and slowly approach the window side and what is often the close plant as they keep this vertical and keep shepherding the players of Vitality further and further away from being able to respond to this.
Yeah, nobody from Vitality, once that kill came in, nobody else wanted to actually try and do something to make Force feel a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit uneasy. Instead, they just gave Force the go-ahead, the green light, to start ripping up the floor, open up the reinforced walls, and just set up for their site execute. Everybody from Vitality is pretty much off the bomb site. They can't really do anything. Stiggy does pull one back, but nobody else is really jumping on for Force because they know they have all the pressure. Toxic Babes are going to try and be landed to try and deny access to Kalma, who does have that diffuser, and Stiggy close on main stairs now. There's a rotation from behind from Shockwave, I believe, but still 15 seconds to go. Force, they're going to try and play with the time.
Well, they try to bring the Valkyrie back up to cause as many destructive moments as she did in the previous round, but no joy as every angle seems to be brilliantly locked down by Force at this point. They have Bibu still on the board with a big gun, but in a post-plant situation with all the work left to do and 4 big bodies left to get through, well, it was only really going to go one way. We find ourselves back on level pegging.
Yeah, that was a lot better for Force. I would say possibly a little bit poorly played by Vitality, allowing Force to have that control and just give them all of that room to kind of maneuver around and look for the picks. Whenever you're playing against Force, you need to try and take the fight to them, because if you just sit back and think that your anchors will win you the game, no. Not against this team. This team is known to be like the gatekeepers online. That's what they're known for. They won the rally spot because of that. They burst away in through CL, they got that automatic first spot. They are the gatekeepers of online, and any team who can take down Force online, boy, they must be strong.
Yeah, and this is the thing, because, yeah, Forza, they've kind of battled heads against a lot of teams, and they found their way through, but when you're approaching a season, when you're going to be playing a lot of these teams repeatedly, week in, week out, which is an experience they haven't really had yet on a grander stage, this is where they're going to be tested, because they're going to have to try and hit a high level every single game, and Vitality are a good team to kind of test that, because they're a team that has been able to kind of stick in, dig, and keep finding this kind of high level of play, and amongst this, and amongst obviously the French League, and amongst all these different kind of places where they are continually developing and continually testing and continually being able to find points and find ways to make other EU Pro League teams bleed. And you know, it's all well and good having an exceptional run, but, you know, do that on a rainy Wednesday night in Stoke.
To just make that reference, I respect it. I very much respect that to a different level. Also, Vitality, apparently they've caught land flu.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's not fun. I've only ever had land flu once in my life. Is the worst week of my career.
Yeah,
it was absolutely horrific.
Never shake hands with anyone at a LAN. That's like the golden rule. And Bibu cuts Shockwave in half over the shoulder of the Clash.
It's just foldable mirror window is how they've kind of played with that one, isn't it? And they have now backed off, and well, for fours, that's a big hit. That Shockwave, that's their Sophia, who can help with eliminating Maestro cameras primarily, but they still have WTG there with the EMPs as well. But that's also your IGL off the table, and look, you lose your IGL, now he just sits back and watches everybody. Do you think that's like a good thing to have, or would you still like rather have him alive?
I mean, you'd rather at least him get in on the map and not get taken out on the spawn, I guess. But if there's someone you want to die first, occasionally it is the IGL. It depends on the role the IGL puts on themselves. Because a good IGL is like a good manager. If they put themselves in a position where they can, like, sit back and offer advice, sure. But if they're an IGL that wants to be a big part of the plan as well, wow, wonderful grenade.
Kaboom.
Yeah, take care of Sticky. And well, those are situations where the IGL is a little bit more of a dampener.
So it is all squared away. Still that walking Clash is just maneuvering around, gaining the information. So now Vitality, they know that fours are attacking from the office east side. It's now up to Vitality to see how they will try and coordinate their setup now. Because surely they have to realize that Bibu, he's not going to really do much. If they're not pushing him in security, what does he do? Well, potentially flank. That's like a big risk. It's a big long corridor. You could get caught off very easily. Spark, kill for him onto Pasha. And that is the nades gone. But of course he did get his nade killed before, and Spark just another one. Vitality holding firm. Rask, he's in bomb site, LMG in hand. Oh, but no, there's the Clash that sends him right back out of the way. Bibu is still off site. So a lot of pressure now on Spark. WTG picks that away from midair. Valkyrie camera that was giving information now gone. So for fours, this isn't looking the best, but still winnable though.
Wow, that's a big take, getting rid of the Clash with a lot of time left, and WTG finds the person who threw the C4 previous and gets a little bit of vengeance there to make sure they can kind of shut them completely out. It's all down to Bibu, who has at least found his way back into the point, dug in the small box room on Armory desk, and is waiting for the plant to go down. Hears the sound, knows the cover's on the left, pre-fires and swings and finds it. Looks like WTG is going to stick the diffuser, and there's the pre-fire. But it doesn't really fully connect as Thatcher goes for a big rotate to hit AC. It looks like Bibu might just stick it. WTG has to find a way back round. Can he make it in time? He goes, he sprays it, and no, he just does it. So close.
Oh,
so unbelievably close.
I'm guessing there must have been an outside Valkyrie camera for him to go for that play, because generically you don't go for that. But because he knew that he dropped down, and he had to go for the rotate, Valkyrie camera must have been there to give that information. So anyway, fours, you've pulled that one out of the bag. Well, WTG specifically, you've pulled that one out of the bag. Now they lead on the attack, and Vitality, they go for their fourth bomb site, which will be that bathroom tellers, which we kind of expected them to go for. It's a bomb site that they don't shy away from. But fours are looking really dominant on the attack. Do you want to give them another bomb site, which basically says, take upstairs and you win?
Yeah, the thing about it is, you know, I think obviously Vents went their way, Customs very much didn't, and Armory was close. For me, I would double down on Armory. I would try and find the firefight there again, because they almost had it. They almost pulled it apart, and, you know, and it's the kind
Vents
of
was open.
Yeah, and they're at this point, they're just... Yeah, again, it's like they're risking it. They're rolling a dice, and they're seeing what can kind of pay off. They're trying to keep Forza guessing, and they're a good team at responding to guess games.
Yeah, Forza, they're bringing the exact same lineup, because everything that they're bringing covers what Vitali would want to get. You know, they bring the IQ in case there is a Valkyrie, which has been a common occurrence for that team, but not bringing the Valkyrie this time around. So really lacking on the information gathering. Not a single one there can give you that visual, early setup, you know, sightlines that you would want to have with the Valkyrie. And of course, whenever Echo is banned as well, that doesn't really help Vitality. That's another big operator that they like to utilize. Maestro is up here, but not bringing it though, which I'm a bit surprised, because he can be really strong for like having a Maestro camera inside of B specifically.
Yeah. Well, setting themselves up to try and start to clean through. And, you know, Vitality, they're giving themselves more options for roam, more options for aggression, be able to swing back via CC. And, ooh, that's some cheeky work there we're seeing from Pasha to get himself in the position to be able to get the damage down. And there's some less cheeky work from WTG. It's like you see one level of skill, and then you see a man drop an ice cream on the floor. It's an unfortunate thing to see. That's not how you can get that IQ. It's a weird semblance we're seeing from Forza here, but they've at least pulled their way back in now. And, well, they can start to try and shut down the man. Obviously, the way they got rid of Bandit last time on this wall was exceptional.
Yeah, they have the nades ready to go from up above. But Qual this time backs away. That's a Sophia stun and more drones, so they know exactly where the Bandit is. WTG does tear Bibu. So he tried to get a little bit aggressive on the window game. And again, this is... I admire Bibu and what he tried to go for there, because he's going to realize as well you can't give Forza this much setup. But whenever WTG at the moment, and this is a guy who we talked about last time, was on the attack, he just picks up kills left, right, and center, you know, and he's already done that. A really good start for him. Now Vitality on the back foot once again. They've gave control to Fours, and there's already like still a minute 20 to go. They know exactly where Bandit is, and that's another easy one for WTG. 2 remaining players upstairs still, but they're way back in Armory, not pressuring Fours one bit.
Yeah, the drone information really kind of works well together there for them. And, you know, you just see them, as you said, they feed WTG. They allow it to just kind of clear through. There's one for Shockwave as well as Sticky goes down. And there's another as Spark follows suit. A 5 versus 1, all down to Brede with a huge amount to do. And 50 seconds, they have all the time in the world. Tries to bait the plant there and tries to bait it. And a great swing to take care of WTG with the information coming in clutch. But unfortunately, it takes more than just one great swing. It would have taken 5. And there is another round falling for the favor of Forza.
Oh, Vitality have just kind of deteriorated every single round, haven't they? They've looked a lot worse as time has went on. And I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it back in. Fours look really poised to send their way into the semis.
It's always fair to kind of say that this was their map, though. This is where they wanted to kind of bring the firefight, and in terms of structure and playstyle, it is quite different to Bank. Bank is, you know, it's a map that can be much more kind of slow-paced and much more... It will allow Vitality more time to do Vitality things. Whereas this, the kind of pace of Forza and finding that opening frag, finding their way through and aggressively against what Vitality are trying to do, it seems to be catching them by surprise a little bit. And I'm kind of curious how it's going to, or what the momentum shift might be when we head over to the Vitality attack half of this map, and just seeing if, well, that's where they might be able to have a little bit more time to themselves and a little bit more time to find the aggressive stylings that we know they can.
So we move into Vince, and this is the only round that Vitality has won on this bomb site. Again for Fours, no difference in their lineup. The exact same 5, but whenever they know that this equation works out for them, what's the point of changing? Vitality, they bring in Mozzie to the fray of things, and haven't really used him as much as what you would expect to see on a map like Border. And well, he has a lot of things that he can do well. Destructibility factor, there's tons of that on Border. He can help with setting up sight and creating kill holes to try and shoot from either below or above. You have the C4, of course, for denial, and just the denial you get is kind of like a mini mute jammer, plus the fact that you're kind of like an information gathering operator as well. So it's just, he's really good.
He's a great guy, great lad, great little Australian lad, but Dev. starts to steadily drone their way, the same way we've seen Pasha do a fair few times so far. And obviously he's been able to find the grenade kills for his troubles in the meantime. Bibu has already suffered a little bit of damage from somewhere, whether that was team accidents or I guess we'll find out a little bit later on. In the meantime, Cameras clearing their way across and finding a bit more aggression against the bodies inside. And WTG gets his drone in this time. And to be fair, when he's able to drone, he's able to find the information he needs. He's then almost consistently then found a body not much longer after. Pasha falls down on the opposite side to apply some instant cover against an instant aggression against the AC window, and we can see a couple of bodies might be a little bit surprised by that, but has the frag grenades and tries to bait the pull and almost gets it. As they swing around to find the firefight close, Pasha obviously doesn't quite drop yet, and the flashes go out, and there it is. Bibu suffers. And for the second time in the row, he's the first body off the board, and now this allows the grenade to hop over the top and see if it can catch the one man behind, but there is a well-placed ADS to stop that dream.
Yeah, this time around, Four's not letting anybody sit inside of concrete, but like I said, still at one man on the other side of the wall. ADS burned, and Pasha's another nade, I believe, that you can try and use. WTG just looking to creep on in, and honestly, this could work out for him, but there's the drop. Stiggy lives to fight another day. Qual is still above, though, by himself, and the body falls down the hatch, by the way. Just say, hey, take your man back.
Yeah, physically he's down below, but his soul has drifted somewhere else.
Yeah, it sits into a new world. But Vitality now, back foot, Fours, they have all the upstairs control, and even putting pressure on Customs to make sure that Spark can't sit nice and tight the way he wants to.
Yeah, he's just kind of dug in Customs and waiting for someone to potentially swing against him. And I guess it could be monumental because that's the only time we've really seen Vitality start to find, well, a complete collapse of Forza, is when they're able to start finding little holes or a gap inside the defense, whether it's a missed drone or whether it's great play. Either way, they've made it count. In the meantime, Stiggy is trying to hold the bottom of stairs as Bride finds one, and Stiggy finds a second, and there's almost a third, but Habana is ready and waiting to be able to take that down. Kama, who otherwise hasn't had the biggest showing so far, is, well, holding on from a very close corners there, but there is the swing round from Forza, and the cover from Kama on the front door brings the split to a 4-1 divide now.
Just about for Fours, they managed to nail that one, and they just continue on with more dominating pressure. Vitality, they tried to do the same old play again. Fours, they read into that. They adapted. And that's one thing that Vitality are not doing against Fours. They're not taking those opening engagements as well as what I would like to see them have. I want to see them just get in Fours' face. If it's a case of Vitality thinking that Fours are just the overall better fraggers, why would you think that? It's a game of Siege, where anybody can kill anybody. Nobody's unstoppable. We've seen that before, you know, everybody fought Joystick. Nobody could kill that man. Even the second half of season for Pro League, Joystick, he kind of fell down a little bit. And so did really all of Empire. Just the mental game is everything for Siege. And if you think that someone's better than you, then that's your own fault. You always have to go into thinking these guys are killable. Because we've seen Fours bleed. We've seen them got beat by G2. Not even beat by G2, thrashed by G2.
Yeah, there's a famous phrase that got a man banned from being able to go back on mic for a while. And
what was it?
I don't think we should repeat it.
Was it not something like, oh, hello Fabian, I'm Pingu?
No, it was the...
oh no, it was the other way around. It was, hello Pingu. Oh no, I'm Fabian.
Yeah.
That was a funny one.
The follow-up, unfortunately. But, hey, he kind of proved his point there, and you got to give credit to the man. He knows how to... You know, he sets the tone he needs to, and he kind of sets the dominate. But in the meantime, so far, talking of dominating, Forza are generally taking a lot of control here. Vitality seem to be struggling to find the response that a team like G2 could. They are a little bit lost in the water here for how to handle this drone work, this combination, and Forza are kind of making them, with their kind of nailing of the basics of Siege, their nailing of the basics understanding of attacking, is just tearing Vitality apart a little bit here. Because it's what it is, really. That method of drone in, have the fragger behind, that's like the 101 of Siege. But they have it down to a T.
Yeah, they do it oh so well. Like, nobody really comes close to like the aggression that Fours bring together. They do have that wolf pack mentality, where if you kill one of them, the whole rest of them is going to jump on you. And it's kind of proved evident for Vitality. Which, honestly, for Vitality, they haven't even gotten that many frags. Like, for the most part, everybody from Fours has been alive whenever they want to try and go for their site executions. So this time around for the Customs, Fords are looking to try and entry in towards security, just like the last round. And I wonder it's going to end up just like the last round, where Vitality were forced out of security. It gave too much to Force, and from there was an easy execute on the site. Diffuser gets planted and everybody dies.
Oh, Shockwave finds Spark. In the meantime, that's Alibi taken out, and the great combination of the frag grenade is enough to pressure the person off CCTV monitors as well. And now they're going to pull round and try and put some more aggression on the counter side. In the meantime, obviously, the fact that they've kind of opted for Customs, it's a bit of a bold play, but well, Forza are reading into it. As you said, it was one of those ones. It was the first one where they managed to get the diffuser down. It was one where they completely pretty much locked out the final man of Bibu on the far side with the Maestro camera in it. It seems like they're doing a similar thing here. Everything is step for step, par for the course, and they're happy to crack open all the walls that they need to give themselves that bubble of comfort before they just kind of hop in, execute, and get the round. Bibu at least finds one back in the favor, brings it back to a balance, and WTG suffers at the fate of the Maestro, who otherwise was a little bit too late to the party the last time we were here in Custom, so it's good to see them finding a little bit more semblance of aggression in this hold. In the meantime, he's definitely way more aggressive, right up on the door, and he sees the corpse of the man he's already killed, but he needs to find a fresh one as SAPPHIRE is playing not far away. Burrito drops Pasha from below, sees the drone go, can't quite get that, and there's another man above though, and that's going to be the end of him down in detention.
That hatch cover, and Rask another one for him. That's why Customs isn't the greatest. If you lose that hatch control, it means that nobody can play inside of B. Qual outside double door, Bibu inside of vents, probably the worst position he could be in, and there's the quick jump from Shockwave, but I don't think he's aware that Bibu is going to be on the other side of the window, but just barely moves away, and there's Qual, has the angle, and 2v2 all of a sudden. It's winnable for Vitality. Bibu, he's outside, but quickly comes back in. Is he going to go for the jump? Here he comes. Yes, Jaws. Music starts being played. Oh no, Bibu! He loses that one, and Fords just, they power through it. Shockwave, a double kill to finish it off.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looked like some of that was... There's the shark dead. That was a great spin there. That's
just lurking.
Something that we've seen a fair bit from them. And, you know, it's good from Force to be able to... For the first time, they looked a little bit on the back foot. They looked like they were kind of struggling with the attack, and there was still obviously bodies that were aware of where they were. And yet, the information gain from them and the ability to kind of read the parts of the map that are active and hot and that aren't, it's just kind of coming through in dividends. 5-1. They're on the split of the kind of the half, and well, let's see if they can continue this onto their defense, and what can Vitality bring on their attack.
Yeah, pressure on Vitality. See if they can pull themselves back out of this big hole that has been dug for Force, and it just says, here lies Vitality. So anywho, Armory straight off the rip, so a little bit more sane compared to the kind of trip that Vitality took us on, only going for Armory the one time. Only one defense, that was on their vents. For's their lineup, pretty standard, pretty similar to kind of what Vitality bring as well. The Maestro is a common occurrence, it's kind of expected. Duck though, from Rask, I'd imagine that's just because he can kind of spawn peek if he wants to, has the ACOG, has those long angle fights that he wants to play in. It's actually really good though if you want to play inside of office, because if you get down by a frag grenade, which as we know, you can go up onto the rooftop and frag down into somebody in office. If you get down, you can steam yourself back up, which I think is kind of what they're going for.
Well, that's the thing. It allows you to be more aggressively versatile, because you can also, we've occasionally seen it, overstim yourself before you pick a firefight, and if you're not 100% sure on where they're going to be, but they might not be 100% sure on where you're going to run out from, it gives you just a little bit more of a buffer of being able to take a few more bullets to put them down as you learn the information about how you're going to handle the firefight. In the meantime, obviously, what we've seen from Vitality so far has been, well, when they've been able to pull it together, it's from a bit of creative positioning, the ability to find themselves in behind Forza's defense, and Forza's impact has been in the opening 30 seconds to a minute. Vitality's, when they was able to take the round, was at about the minute mark. And I guess it's seeing if that's something that's going to be more prevalent on their attack rounds, if they have more time to themselves, more time to get the positionings that they want, and, well, go from there. They've taken very quick control of CC. They have that locked down, They have their eyes and they have their ears tuned to the ground. It's making it into something now, though.
Well, I mean, Vitality, they're like one of the best teams on attack. You know, they've really put a big staple on how they kind of position themselves and they play the game, and they play it well. But I just don't know if they can break down fours or if they have this momentum behind them. Nobody in half wall, and that's been spun out very quickly by Vitality. But now they need to make sure that nobody gets over to half wall, as most people from fours, they're just sitting back on site, trying to rely on the utility factor. They have the Maestro cameras, they have smokes and a C4. No, not even a C4 from Passion, instead a shield. Did they bring 2 shields? I think they did. Yeah, they brought 2 deployable shields.
I couldn't tell you the last time I think I saw a Valkyrie with a shield, especially when they've already got someone else bringing a shield.
I couldn't tell you last time I seen this bomb site being defended without a C4.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we'll see how it comes together. WTG is kind of holding it from a little bit of a tight angle.
Kind of holding it. It's not the best, though.
Yeah, he's kind of got an eye towards it. They got a Maestro cam that's offering some support, but with the body on sandwich window, any rotation is going to be cut off here, and Stiggy's just going to take care of that Maestro very quickly. And now they're going to have to be a little bit more proactive about how they stop this roll, because, well, they can just try and sneak something in if they get the more attention and destruction done on the man who has actually had to fall. Oh no, he's still up in the small box room, but he's, you know, he's just kind of waiting and dicing. 40 seconds on the board though, and every player still stood.
Yeah, this is very Vitality-esque, but Vitality, they have kind of checkmarked what they need to clear out. They've got rid of the utility that Forbes were relying on. The Maestro camera is the shield. But still, a lot of players, like you said, they have to go for a 5v5. And this is where things get fast and furious. Qual trying to stick to defuse, but there's a Toxic Baby that come in. Rasto, first blood for him, and Bride off the table. Still low for 4, 15 seconds. All guns pointed towards the armory, and Vitality, nobody's here ready to go. They have to try and push in through the toxic cloud, but WTG, he has that shotgun ready to go, peeks all around, and he stops the diffuser. That's all he needed. Now Vitality need to take another person to go for the plant. Pasha eliminates the man in the window, they all pile on in, and this should be the round for 4s, and yes, it will be.
I liked, sorry, the image of all of 4s running around the corner there at the end, like all 4 of them. 6-1, and well, this is, if they lose this, it is purely them throwing at this point, because they have looked exceptional so far. Yeah, they held that with a little bit further back, and I think that kind of took Vitality a little bit aback.
4s, if you guys throw this, I'll shave Fluke's head.
I disagree with that.
This is in your contract.
You think I've signed a contract?
I thought we signed a contract. I thought we did a blood oath that one night.
No, I think I sent Sternab in my stead, so...
Oh, so he's the blood oath, is he just
Yeah, you've blood oath with Sternab.
Okay, we'll shave Sternab's head.
Yep. And you can see it live at the LAN.
Yeah.
That's going to be instead of like a show match.
Just extreme hairdressing.
6-1. 6-1 match point we find ourselves sitting on, and yeah, Forza are sitting very pretty. They're bringing the pulse, they're bringing the information game with Pasha as well on the Valkyrie. As we said, it was a little bit of a take you aback kind of hold on the previous point, but hey, it completely took Vitality aback, who, yes, they're a team that can execute at the very end, but you know, the way Forza have played it, said, okay, we'll try, and we're just going to hide and pop out at the very end. We have ourselves in positions to be able to stop this without having to really throw. We know where you're going to try and plant because we've kind of illuminated it. We've said, here is the point. This is where you plant, and you're not going to kill us. You've got to try and plant here first, and hey, it worked.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
All right, 4s, 1 round away. And we were kind of asking for C4s. Out they come. I think they have 3 C4s now on the table. Pulse as well, being brought into the fray of things. So they're going to try and stop Vitality via the old blow them up from below technique. For Vitality, they're bringing some soft destruction, so more than likely they will try and entry in towards Armory and utilize the Skeleton Key available to Spark. But they have to clear out the roamers first of all. There's a hefty amount of them. Even have the Maestro upstairs to try and give him a little bit of support, but no, he has since then just fallen back. But there is still 3 of them. Oh, this is going to be close, and Stiggy, he takes advantage of it.
Yeah, Stiggy, finally a player who we kind of wanted to see light up a bit, is able to find the opener against Kama. Bandits haven't had the best time on this map so far, and that trend is going to apparently continue. Shockwave is going to, well, get a bit aggressive underneath, make sure that there's no one in the immediate, as WTG at least pulls some balance back to Forza's favor, as Stiggy gets taken out of the equation on the Ash. Has obviously got 1 opener, but there's still plenty left to do here. Qual is going to try and double down and drone ahead for the guns either side of the shoulder of Bride and Spark, and, well, the wide swing almost came out there, and you can see they've dug in behind Sandwich, with a bit of a cover here, and this could, well, depending on how aware they are of the body there and what utility they throw towards trying to get them out, it could be a very big frag for a frag grenade.
Rast, a lot of damage taken by him. He tried to fight towards Bibu. Shockwave, that C4 that he was keeping in his back pocket, works a charm. And that is going to be another player falling for Vitality. A minute or so on the clock. Vitality, no real headway into taking upstairs. And they still have to do all of the destructibility. They still have to get Spark in with the skeleton key. Look, you can see them. Even though there's nobody upstairs, they still don't know that. They're taking their time with it. And then there's the go-ahead. So now they know it's going to be clear. And they can move on in and try and make things happen. We've seen Vitality pull themselves out of holes like this before. But we very rarely see Force choke leads like this.
Yeah, it's the thing about it, is this has all been down to Force's pacing. The only ground that it seems that Vitality have ever really got in this is when Force have let them take it. There's been no real trades that have been kind of Vitality putting the pressure on. I guess we'll see if this plan, the second step of this plan, can come to fruition. Obviously, he lost one man directly underneath, and that's the smoke off the board as well. So WTG isn't going to be able to stem the roll. With only 20 seconds left, though, it's down to Vitality to force their way onto the B point and actually try and get the diffuser in for the plant. There's more shots from Shockwave, seeing if they can find anybody, but they can't quite get Spark on the Buck. However, they've just got to try and funnel in, and if it's down to the person on the long corner, they can't actually get it. There's the hop on the table.
Oh, you had him! He had him, he jumped on the table!
Yeah, he just couldn't quite find it, though, and there's the diffuser down. Rask obviously does find one. It's a 2-2, and they're in this situation now where they've got to try and get this in the post-plant. With such a little amount of health, he's got to nail this firefight. It's so important, and now you're the only one left alive. With the top floor locked down too, this is probably a little bit just too out of the water for you. The drone goes off, and so does your head. 6-2. The gap is slightly less wide now.
Yeah, we said Vitali, they can pull kind of down and not out positions before, and, well, they've shown that. Still for Force. Honestly, right there, Pulse was on the table. He could have killed the man planting. He could have killed him, but then he dropped down again. But that is basically, it kind of shows how strong the B plant is, because the fact that Buck can sit and hold the connector means you can't do anything against it. Yeah. So overall, it was really well played by Vitality, figuring out what is our only option, what's our best option, more importantly, and that was one of them. But still, they have to pull back another 4 rounds to take it to OT. That's going to be stacked against them. Do we really think Fords are going to let another vent slip? I doubt it.
I mean, that was the thing, because obviously, as we said, the ground that they took upstairs, it was well worked by Vitality when they got it, sure, but it was kind of handed to them by Forza, who pulled back. They could have maybe pulled a little bit more out of the firefight, a little bit more, you know, damage put against them, and an extra 5 seconds could have been the difference on that round there. Oh, well, let's see if they can kind of make it work on the second time round. There's a similar lineup coming out from both teams. The Pulse is the big drop here, as well as the Valkyrie in terms of Forza. They've opted for less information and, well, more kind of solidity and stability. And Kama is obviously on the position of being able to dock himself up, but, you know, WTG on the smokes, losing that from just being a little bit out of position could have been the most costly bit of the entire round in the hands of Forza. In the meantime, Vitality, they're happy to keep rolling as they were rolling. As long as, you know, protect President Spark, he finds his way upstairs and able to cause more destruction and damage down below, that could kind of be the make or break of how this round is going to play. Stiggy looks for a quick open aggression. No one is taking the bait so far. Let's see if Vitality can keep this roller going.
So, Vitality, they're setting up well, and they're attempting to try and go for, I think, an office clear this time around. Previously, it was more towards the armory, but since they do have Qual towards that side of the map, they could try and go for a split push. The fact that Fords has left that entire office wall soft makes sense that you would send your Sophia and your Buck to try an entry in there. Still, though, roamers they have to go up against. One of them being Rask on that Jaeger, who kind of held down this side of the map pretty well, but still did eventually lose his cool and went for the drop down back into the bomb site. But as long as he can waste time, that's like the main thing that Force have going for them against Vitality. Vitality, they're just trying to go for the probe, so pretty atypical of them. There's nothing really too strange that we're not used to seeing. Wall gets opened up, gives them their entry in, means everybody from Force has to kind of take a back step and rethink their plans.
Yeah, they can't hold that as aggressively, but it also means that neither can Forza. So it allows you to have a little bit more play space in terms of just, you know, aggressively looking for the information and looking for the potential of a body. The drones are still working overtime for Vitality. They're trying to find everything, and they want to find this entry frag. And this could be the big make or break of how the rest of the round is going to swing. Shockwave, in the meantime, is doubling down with Rask on the far side, making sure that no one is taking control of triple wall in offices, and otherwise it's a little bit of another stalemate here. Pash is holding a pretty close yet strict angle with the Alder and making sure that any potential of a quick movement is well slowed, and there is a bit of quick movement that they can't find an answer to, and it's doubled down. Shockwave finds one, but there is the trade yet again. Big bodies coming for big bodies there. Spark is still alive, but there's another gun trying to find him with a minute on that. Buck has to find a way in, and the smoke is going to slow the roll just a little bit. This is more dedication to wasting the time on the top floor here, and Rask wants to find this firefight, but you know, doesn't want to throw their life away. The hop in and the barbed wire is going to give him all the information he needs. And there's Maestro missing the first one, but Rask finds one, Brede finds one, and WTG finds two. And suddenly we're in a 2 versus 1 situation, all down to Stiggy below. The IQ has to find the way through onto point.
He's in sight, but with no diffuser in hand, can't really do much. So pretty much now we're seeing the attacker play as a defender, and the defenders, they have the upstairs control as if they're attackers. So Stiggy trying to retake in, that deployable shield means he has to vault on in. That's an easy lineup. And Force, 7-2, first map. Easy as you like it for them. And that last round, Fluke, all 5 players were upstairs, even though it was a vents hold.
Yeah, as we said, if they could dedicate a little bit more time upstairs, they might be able to find it. And they went, oh, we could dedicate all of our time.
Let's just put
upstairs.
everybody there.
Let's just put everybody upstairs, and that's a way of doing it. And hey, it worked. But that was their map, and the next one is Bank. A different map, a different style. We will see you after some adverts.
Predict the outcome, win the game. Get live coverage and schedules for your favorite tournaments. Analyze, predict, and vote to gain points. Compete with other esports fans and climb the leaderboards. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.